What's going on, Taka fam? Alright, so it's been a bit of a exciting day because while I was at work randomly, just taking a break, I saw the Banlist come out. So let me preface this by saying that today was going to be a combo video for the last build that I showed. I do read you guys' comments and I wanted to be able to show you guys that the deck functions the way that I say that it does. But that Banlist said maybe Brandon could play now. So I made some changes and we're going to deck profile this, and then we're also going to do some test ends just to see. All right, so for this new format now, still playing 3 Albaz. I like it. You can cut it to 2 now if you want. It's less likely for your stuff to get milled or shuffled, but since they're not banned, hey, I'll take it. 3 Aluber, same as always, best normal summon. But now I went back to something I used to do because now they're a little bit more viable. So now I'm playing the 1 Tragedy and I'm playing the 1 Adlib. So they have a little bit more versatility now. They can actually be used, and this doesn't really necessarily have a super crazy target on his back. I mean, yes, there's still bestials in the game, but it is better than it always getting shuffled back or bestial all the time. Then still have the 1 Albion. It's Upstart. Still testing the 1 kit. I still like it. It's another normal summon. Playing 1 Cartesia. I'm thinking about bumping this to 2. So I decided to go with what you call the Fusion Deployment Package. That was one of those things I was going to talk about that I wanted to test out and try it. So the reason why we play this now a little bit more is because Ash is coming back into the format. And you want to still be able to fuse and it not necessarily have to be a spell card, because you can use this on both players' turns, so you have a fusion whenever you want. I'm still doing a 2 Merc Carrier. I still think it's needed for the combo, searching 1, and then using 1 for the fusion, or if you draw 1, it's still good. Now, so we're playing less Bestials now, but because tier's still a thing, so we're still playing the Baldrake, still playing the 1 Druis, but now we cut Saronir to 1. So you don't really need as many Bestials now, especially because of Kashtira. But now the tier took such a big hit, at least drawing like 1 Bestial or 2 could just end their turn now, potentially. Deck's not dead, deck's still really good, but you might not, at least for the beginning, you might not need that many of those. And we're still playing a 3 Magnemite because it's still the best one and it gets any dragon in your deck. And I'm still on the 1 Lubellion, at least for now. I could bump it up to 2, maybe. It could be a little bit more viable now, but it's still not the greatest going second. So we're gonna stick with 1 for now, at least through testing. Then for the spells, best card in the deck still. Glad this card didn't get hit, but in the foreseeable future, I definitely think this could potentially get hit. Hopefully it doesn't, because this is how the deck functions, and this is what makes it competitive. We have 3 opening. Now this card has a little bit more value because I added a few more targets. Hopefully I don't brick on those targets. And then for the power 1 of utility branded cards, playing 1 white because it's poly. 1 red still. Debated on playing a second one, but for now we're going to just try out the 1. Playing the 1 high spirits is still not necessarily needed at 3 anymore, I don't think. But I still think it's good. At least for utility, it still gets you a little combo with Saronir if you do draw it. So the new card, Light of the Branded. This card's really good because this card says target a fusion monster on either player's field or grave for the cost. Put it back to the extra deck. Then summon an Albaz from your grave and any monster from their grave. So you can do a lot of battle phase shenanigans, especially with Mirror Jade. You could do like Mirror Jade, attack, use Mirror Jade effect to clear something. Use this to tag Mirror Jade out to put it back. Summon the Albaz back and one of their extra deck monsters. Remake their Jade again. Attack another monster and then clear another monster. So that's pretty good. And it's a quick play, so it's cool for little OTKs. Lost, still one of the best cards in the deck. Regained. And for the last, like, not branded card, but branded card, the 2 fusion deployment. I'm going to try this out with Cartesia. I kind of want to play 2 and 2, but for now we're just going to rock with this. So now, since I'm playing 2 of these, I could search it off Lanatus, so I don't necessarily need to open too many of them. But I can also just, play around and not search the Cartesia early if I have this card. And then back to the traps. So we got the Banishment, we got the Retribution, and the Beast. So all these cards, unfortunately, they suck whenever they don't fulfill their purpose. Like this still is the Shufflers of Bestials, but it's less likely now. This is kind of a brick if you don't have an Albaz Fusion. And this is a brick if you don't draw a Bestial. But it's still good because it's how you out Floodgates. And then last card in the deck, Book of Eclipse. So this is my personal deck. Kashtira is going to be one of the best deck, if not the best deck. I at least want to have a main deck counter to this outside of some of the stuff in my main deck. So I still want to have this as an option. Then for the extra deck, 2 Jade, still 2 Albion, could potentially be 3, but I kind of like 2 right now, and 2 Lubellion. These are the most important ones for all of your basic combos. This is your boss monster. You want to end on this. Even if you don't end on this on your turn, you want to be able to do it on their turn. Rinbroom, this card's insane. I actually like this card a lot, and a lot of people don't realize a lot of its applications. So obviously it takes a Wing Beast, Beast, or Beast Warrior to make it, and plus Albaz. We all know about the negate effect, and you can bounce anything, which the bounce is optional. But a lot of people don't know that any of those extra deck type monsters could trigger this if they're trying to summon themselves back from the grave. Like say Kaleido Heart. Say you cleared a Kaleido Heart because you wanted to destroy by card effect. They go Kaleido Heart effect to come back. You go negate. You get a free bounce on one of their other cards, and their Kaleido's pretty much gone from the game for the rest of the game. Because it can't be used as a material, so they can't use their tier monsters to put it back. Alba, this card's still really good. Now we have another good target in the deck. Still play the Brigand. This gets a little bit better, especially because now we don't have to worry about the statue with Flu. Titan, still to get over big monsters. So we're still playing the 1 Dust Dragon. I consider playing the second one just because there's so many applications for this card, especially if I'm playing multiple Cartesia. I could potentially play a second one because just being able to dump anything that you need at that moment in time. I'm not playing Garura. I'm going to go ahead and say that now, but you can definitely play it, especially if you decide to play Super Poly in your build, because that turns this into a draw. If you're playing the Shaddolls, you just send App Clone from your extra deck to get Schism, but just keep in mind that's more bricks in your deck. But this card's really good. It's good for setting you up. 1 Masquerade, just because this Masquerade, you still need a time card, because time rules kind of suck sometimes. Proskinian, this card replaced Mysterion, at least for now. I'm going to try without Mysterion because it should be less problems with tier. Still can be a problem, but we'll just see. It's new format. But this card's really good, especially for doing burn damage too. It's like old school Flame Wingman. It's basically that. And you could use this to either steal their links or exceeds or anything, or banish them before they can reuse them. Dragostapelia. It's pretty standard for this deck, but it can be cut if you want to, but it's a little bit stronger now that Tier took a lot of those hits, and Flu took those hits. And Chimera, this card's really good. I could potentially see myself playing like a Chimera Turbo type deck, like back in the day when we would play 2 with the edge imps and all that, but that's more of like a fun build, and it's more explosive. So if you don't really care if your Branded Fusion resolves, you can try to build around Chimera. Alright, so now we're going to do some test hands here. We're going to do a couple of them. The combo strings could take a while, depending on your hand. Go ahead and power shuffle this thing. And if you don't have these, y'all should try these out. It's the Year of the Rabbit. I think it's pretty cool. Alright, so hopefully this will be in camera. I may at least keep my deck off camera, potentially. If you see it off camera, kind of ignore it. But so this is a pretty good hand right here. So typically in this situation, we have this. So this is pretty much free. This is bait. If you fear Bestial, you could start with this, but I'll probably wait. So what I would do here, I will obviously start off with the Aluber, get the effect. Since we open this, we're not going to search that, obviously. We're just going to search the Lost. Same as always. We're going to activate the Lost. And then here, since we open this, call this the Holy Trinity. Whenever you have the Beast with it too. And now we go Fusion. If they got Ash, it would suck, unfortunately. If you're afraid that your hand can't play around Ash, it would just be better to start with this. Because this at least tries to give you another play. So we go activate Fusion here. Since we did not draw any Bestials, we could, like, the Rimbrum play wouldn't be the greatest play right now. Like, even Lubellion. Lubellion could really lose to a Bestial at the moment. So what I would do in this situation, depends on what I want to make. I could make a light monster here. So what we could do is this. Here's a cool little play. Opening Cartesia, kind of not the worst thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make Albion. So I'm going to go Albion Chainlink 1. Always make your Fusion Chainlink 1, because if you do it any other way, when you're trying to cock block them or stop them from playing, if you have it any other way, then they could respond since the Fusion wasn't the last thing. So try to make that the last thing. So we go this effect and then chain this. So what I'm going to do is you could search this. Search the Mercarrier here. So you have two options. You can make Rimbrum or you can make the Dust Dragon. And there's going to be a cool little play that we're going to do in a minute here. But I'm thinking I want to go for this play with the Rimbrum. So what no, we're going to banish these two. Same play. This one's a little bit more intricate. So what we're going to do is go Dust Dragon Chainlink 1. We're going to use this, target the Cartesia as Chainlink 2, and then 3. And so we can search like a draw if we want. Or instead of doing it the chain links that way, this will be 1. This will be 2. Or we can make it the other way. We can make it this 2 to search, this put back to draw. So we can make this 3. So we can go ahead and put her back for now. We're going to draw. Doesn't matter what we draw here. This right here is going to search that Cartesia that we just put back. And then this is going to dump. So depending on your hands, like seeing it with this one, you could just dump anything here. So you could either dump a Tragedy to get another name to your hands. But let's see in the extra deck what we got. Because anything would be really good here. You could, if you wanted to, you could send this so that you have this during your opponent's turn because you're going to have this in the graveyard. But we could search a follow-up. So I'll go ahead and search this right here, which is fine. The reason why we added this right back to our hand is because we're going to activate her effective special because we decided to keep the Albaz there. And now we have a fusion during either player's turn. We could use the fusion now. If we were playing Mysterion, we could still make it here. Or we could just make something like a Masquerade. So we can go Cartesia effect, just so we have something that we could fuse into right now. Just something basic. You don't necessarily have to do too much. Don't overcommit if you don't need to. Or you can save this if you want, and you could still just fuse her off, or use this to fuse these two off, because it still has a graveyard effect. So we'll just actually take that route. We'll get rid of these. Now, if your opponent has nothing, you just go Lubellion. Now you go Lubellion effect. Here, we got the Holy Trinity set up here. And then now we still have a fusion during their turn. And if we banish this somehow on my opponent's turn, which we're going to, I'll show you that in a little bit. So we're going to move the end phase here. I know it doesn't seem like much. You could hold this if you want, or you could set it. Setting this wouldn't be bad. But what we're going to try to do, we're going to try to accomplish something real nice here. So we did summon this properly. So we're going to resolve this first. What we're going to do, we're going to add... We're going to add the Brain in red here. Then we're going to activate. Right now it's kind of dead, so we can't really like negate anything. But that's okay. Because if we at least have these for like follow-up and stuff like that. So still during the end phase, we're going to use this. We're going to target the Albaz. So now the Albaz back into the hand. We can do this. Banish these two. So we can summon Lubellion up here. So we go Lubellion's Chainlink 1, so we can discard this. Now we have protection. And then we go Chainlink 2, Ad-lib, we're going to target this Albion right here. So now we get another search during the next turn too. So we're going to put this back, put the Albaz back into the deck. And then we're going to make the Mirror Jade. So we also have this as a floater. We have this as a trigger that's also a floater. They have to pay their taxes to play. We get another fusion, which we can also use to dodge like imperms, veilers and stuff. I mean, not veilers, like imperms and stuff, or negation with this. If they try to use anything on Mirror Jade, because we could just dodge it with her effect diffuse. We got to pop with this. We get a draw with this. So this is going to be the end board. It got a lot better during the end. But during your opponent's turn, a cool play that you could do, if you do trigger this effect, if you want to end up summoning Proskinian here. So now what you would do here is you would activate this to put this back. Draw a free card, it don't matter. We drew that. And then still during their turn as well, you could just use this to fuse again. So you could refuse these two into the Dusk. And then Dusk could send this if you want. You can send that. Or if you have an Albaz engraved, you definitely send that. Because then you could float into another fusion during their turn. So what you could do, you could dump anything from your deck as well. If you need it. If you need Saronir, you just go Saronir. And then Saronir will be able to dump this. So now you also have recursion to get your fusion card back. Alright. So now we're going to move on to the next hand. That hand was pretty good. And there was a lot of lines of play that you actually can do based on the hand. But it's all depending on which routes you want to go and depending on which hand traps you want to try to avoid the best way that you can. Alright, we're going to do another test hand, guys. This will be the last one. That was a little bit more in depth, but I at least want to explain the thought process of what I do whenever I'm playing this deck, whatever I think about. Do it like this. Alright, give a nice one of those. Give it a little cut in half. Alright, now next 5 cards. Ooh, it's looking rough, guys. Alright, so these are some of the hands you gotta expect sometimes, but you gotta know how to play through your bad hands too. And this is a perfect example how it still works, because this just needs a dragon to fuse with. So what we at least could do here is activate white, search, well, fuse, I should say. So we fuse into the tax dragon here, if I could find him. And then Tragedy's effect will trigger. Sometimes you don't have to trigger this effect, just in case you want to reset something, but I would trigger it here, just because getting a normal summon would be pretty good. And worst case, Even if we got to book our own guys, they still all get flip face up if I'm not wrong. Nope, just your opponent. But it's not the worst thing because we just needed this to play. So what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and put this to the side. If I could find him, we get a looper. So we go normal summon a looper, use the effect. We're gonna search fusion because it's the best card. Next play, we're gonna go fusion. So we go send Albaz. And now the question is, what do we want here? Do we want an Albion play? Or do we want a Lubellian play? I kind of like the Albion play, actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to send our boy, Lubellian. He may or may not come up in his combos. Not going to matter too much. But if he does come up, that's like an added bonus. So going to summon, activate the effect. So we're going to leave the Albaz in the grave. If y'all can see where this is going, we're going to leave him in the graveyard. So what we're going to do, we're going to banish the Mercari that we drew. And then we're probably going to banish, depending on what we want here. So we could make Dragostapelia if we want to get rid of this. Maybe not this. Let's see. Most of these are Albaz fusions. Quiritus would be good here, so that could be up for consideration as well. Or we could hard make Proskinian this way. So we got a Despia light, then we can go ahead and banish our light, at least for now. See, he's not going to really come up too much. And, well, I couldn't make that, I don't think. Yeah, because it is 8 or lower. Because that would be insane if you could do that. So if I want to use this based on this hand, it cuts me off from the play that I was thinking about making. So just for purposes, we're just going to get rid of the Masquerade. Actually, that's fine. We'll just get rid of the Albion. So we're going to get rid of these two. We're going to make the Drago. It would be better potentially to just get rid of this because we just made a throwaway fusion just to start the combo. So we'll just say that we did. Make this will trigger. We're going to search Cartesia. I don't want to lose so many resources, but based on our awkward hand, we still got to find a way to play through it. And so far, it's not the worst. It's definitely not. Since Albaz's still in the grave, we can activate to special her. And now we can activate her. So it's up to you what you want to do. If you want to make Dust Dragon with these two, if you don't feel like trying to get this off. Because if they do have something, they would probably stop you here. If they would have stopped you when you got the Cartesia to your hand. So we're going to just say that we use this. We're going to use this. I think that's... no balls. We're just going to do it. Alright. Now we're going to go Dust Dragon. So Dust Dragon could send anything here. So what will make this hand really good? So what we could do is send a follow-up. Since our hand was so awkward, we could send a follow-up. So in this situation, I would send Renbrum. And then we ask if they got anything on resolution. If they don't, then we're good to go, good to cook. Now we're going to use his effect. So we do have a Bestial in the grave, so we have two options. We either have Beast, which I don't think we're going to necessarily need it. I think in this situation, Regained. The reason why we're choosing Regain here is because of her own effect could give you a draw. If they summon, you bring back Baldrake, and then if you use his effect, that could potentially give you a draw. Because now we have this set up in our graveyard with the Albaz. So we'll be able to do this during their turn. So I'll get to that in just a second. So we're just going to go set this, go to end phase, activate Cartesia to add herself back to the hand. We're going to use this in this situation because we have more of a control style hand. We could set a banishment, or Retribution could be good here if you think this play will go through. But that's a lot of what ifs. So what I would do here is either one of these two, because these two could float you into anything. If that Albaz sticks into the grave or stays in the grave, then we're good. So I'm gonna just say we set this. The reason why is because if this play don't go through, you could just chain this so you could bring this out anyway and still fuse. So we're gonna end up setting this. Or we can activate it now. It don't matter. If we wanted to add it to our hand, we can still activate it to force it through, but it does nothing because we're going first. Unless our opponent bestialed us, it does nothing. So this right here is what you're going to have in the grave. So depending on the situation, whatever they summon, say they summon something like a Sprend. They summon Sprend and then get the 2 beavers. You could use this. You could trigger. And then you could chain this. So you're going to target these 2. Say they have no response. You're going to banish this guy, bring this out. So what you're going to do, you're going to go Albaz Chainlink 1, because you want to make your Fusion Chainlink 1 if you want. This Chainlink 2, we're going to either target this or this, whichever one you feel like you're going to need for your grind game. Since we just got rid of the Cartesia, we could easily just put the Rimbrum. Well, we could easily put her back. So we put her back, draw a card. So I'm just going to shuffle up real quick, draw a card. Doesn't matter what we draw here. We drew Lost, cool. We're gonna, since we're gonna use this in the Sprends, make a Mirror Jade. Or in the other scenario, if you wanted to use this earlier, you could have put this on the Chainlink as well. Whenever they do some of the Sprend, they go Sprend this Chainlink 1, you go Chainlink 2 this, do this, summon this back. So whenever the 2 monsters do get summoned, you'll still have this for later if you need to, and then you're still gonna get the draw anyway off of that. All right, guys. So that was a little combo, some basic stuff, and that was an awkward hand. And the more you sit down and play this deck, you'll start to see the lines whenever you look at the hands. I've been playing this deck for a long time, so whenever I see stuff like this, I kind of just know how to, my best way to play through some of the bad hands and which option is better for me. And it's always better to just make the correct decision. And if the correct decision's your only decision that could potentially give you victory, you got to play to your win condition. So if it doesn't work, hey, you also play to your lose conditions. It happens. But even with that awkward hand, you see we still put an amazing board out there. A lot of disruptions, a lot of layered ones at that. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the deck profile, please give it a like, comment, subscribe, share, please. All right, Taka fam, we out.